For a long time, I thought my overwhelm was caused by my circumstances. I thought if life would just slow down, if things became easier, if I had more help, if I could just catch up, then I would finally feel peace. At the time, my life really did feel overwhelming. I was working long hours, trying to care for my home, care for my children, keep up with the laundry, dishes, responsibilities. And honestly, I constantly felt like I was drowning. There was always something unfinished, something waiting for me, something I forgot. I kept telling myself, once life changes, I'll finally feel okay. But then something happened. My circumstances completely changed. And somehow, I was still overwhelmed. And honestly, that was incredibly frustrating because I had spent so much time believing that peace was waiting for me somewhere in the future. I thought peace was something I would finally experience once life became manageable, once I got organized enough, once I healed enough, once I became disciplined enough, and the house stayed clean long enough. I kept chasing this version of life where I would finally feel calm. But no matter what changed externally, internally, I still felt restless. And honestly, that realization shocked me because for so long I had blamed my overwhelm entirely on my circumstances. I thought the stress was coming from how hard life felt. But then, when my environment changed and the overwhelm stayed, I started realizing something uncomfortable. The common denominator in every season of my life was me. And I don't mean that in a shame-filled way. I don't mean difficult circumstances don't matter. Some seasons are genuinely heavy. But what I began realizing is that overwhelm was not only coming from what was happening around me, but it was also coming from what was happening inside me. I was carrying constant pressure internally. Pressure to do everything well. Pressure to keep everyone okay. Pressure to stay grateful. Pressure to keep pushing through even when I was exhausted. And I think a lot of mothers live this way without even realizing it. We carry invisible mental lists constantly. The appointments, the meals, the laundry, budgeting, emotional needs of everyone around us. The things nobody sees us managing. And eventually our nervous system starts living like there's never an off switch. Even when you finally sit down to rest, your mind is still running. Your body is still carrying tension. And you still feel behind somehow. I think for a long time I was unknowingly waiting for a version of life that didn't contain difficulty. But life doesn't really work that way. We just trade one kind of hard for another. Working long hours is hard. Staying home with the children is hard. Healing is hard. Growth is hard. Change is hard. We choose our hard. And I slowly started realizing that peace could not depend on life becoming completely easy, because that day might never come. And honestly, that realization used to scare me, because if life was always going to contain hard things, then how was I ever supposed to feel peace? I think that's why so many of us feel trapped in survival mode. We keep waiting for life to finally become peaceful before allowing ourselves to rest emotionally. But life keeps happening. There's always another responsibility, another season, another uncertainty. And eventually, I started realizing that if my peace depends entirely on circumstances, then my peace will always feel fragile. I used to think peace meant quiet. A quiet house, slow mornings, extra money, predictability, finally feeling caught up. But biblical peace is so different than that. God's peace is not dependent on perfect circumstances. It can exist in chaos, in uncertainty, in exhaustion, in motherhood, and in survival mode. And realizing that completely changed the way I view overwhelm. Looking back now, I realize I was trying to carry life like everything depended on me. And when you live that way, overwhelm becomes inevitable. I think so many mothers are silently carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders, trying to hold everything together, trying to do everything well, trying to not complain, trying to keep everyone okay. But we were never meant to carry all of this alone. And for me, the missing piece was trust in God. Not perfection and not productivity. Trust. Trusting that God is present in ordinary life, that He sees me in the unnoticed moments. Trusting that I do not have to carry every outcome by myself, and that resting does not make me lazy. Trusting that my worth is not dependent on how productive I am, and that God's peace is real even when my circumstances are still messy. And I think for me, that changed the way I approach overwhelm completely. Because instead of constantly asking, how do I control everything around me? I slowly started asking, how do I stay grounded and connected to God in the middle of real life? And I still have overwhelming days. I still have moments where I feel anxious. I still have days where life feels heavy. I still fall into old survival mode patterns sometimes. But the difference now is that I no longer believe peace is waiting for me somewhere later. I don't believe I have to earn peace by finally getting everything under control. And that has changed so much for me. Because real peace is not found in perfect circumstances. It's found in surrender. It's found in trust. It's found in remembering that God is already holding the things I keep trying to carry alone. And if you've been feeling overwhelmed lately, if you've been feeling emotionally exhausted, if you feel like your nervous system never fully relaxes, I just want you to know you're not alone. And you're not failing because life feels heavy. And peace does not have to wait until everything finally calms down. It can begin here, slowly, gently, right in the middle of your real life. And if you need help taking that first step out of survival mode, I created a free guide called the 10-Minute Survival Mode Reset. It's filled with simple, practical ways to help calm your nervous system and create a sense of peace when everything feels overwhelming. I'll leave it linked below. And truly, I pray you feel God's peace today.